Hey now, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I literally just got done watching Season 2 of Daredevil on Netflix. Man, oh man, I could not wait to watch this as soon as it dropped. Early in the morning, first thing I did was put it on. And I just kept watching and watching and watching. This is what I love about Marvel doing these shows on Netflix. The fact that Netflix just, it doesn't make you wait. It doesn't make you week to week watch it. No, it's just if you want, you can watch it at your own pace. Or you can just splurge like I did. And I'm sure other people did where they just kept watching and kept watching. I was really into this. It's funny. Like it's hard to say whether I love this more than Season 1. Because Season 1 was such a surprise. I was so surprised on how serious they took it, how gritty it was, dark it was, and how greatly written it was. So this, I'm expecting all that. I know that that's there. This season almost felt like it had to do bigger, or had to do more with all of the other characters that were brought in, with all of the more action that was in there. So you have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and obviously Charlie Cox is great as this character. I love him as Matt Murdock, not just because he's the blind lawyer. I mean, I sometimes think that Charlie Cox really made himself blind for this role. He's that good. But just, I love what this character has to go through. It's the classic, here's your hero, your top hero, who has his rules, he has his code of honor, and here are these other characters who challenge that. Also, really quick, I want to mention the upgraded suit. We know Season 1 we had the black suit, and as much as I was maybe in the back of my head wanting the red suit, I was so into that story and so into the show that I didn't care that he was wearing the black suit the whole time. And then when we got the red suit at the end, I thought it was okay. I thought it was cool. I wasn't blown away. I wasn't like, holy fuck, that's Daredevil. But I just thought, okay, well, at least it's red, and at least it makes sense how armored it is, and there was a story reason for the design. So I was okay with it. And a few episodes into this season, he gets another upgrade, and the suit looks even more red, and the helmet, the mask gets more red, and he has red eyes. He looks so much more like Daredevil in this season. Foggy Nelson, played by Elder Henson, and some people, I just quickly went online and saw some people commenting about the show and some reviews about it, and a lot of people didn't like Foggy. A lot of people had complaints about him complaining a lot or always getting in Matt Murdock's face, and I understand it. I understand the complaints. I understand some of the hate. I get it. He does come at Matt hard. But I also see his point of view where he cares so much about him. It's his best friend. As much good as Matt's doing what he's doing, he doesn't want to see him die. He doesn't want to lose him. And so you have to at least respect where he's coming from. You have Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page, and I really like this actress. Obviously, I first knew her from True Blood, but I really like what they do with her here. Sure, she develops a romantic relationship with Matt in this season, and that's good, that's fine. But I was more into seeing her go off and investigating things, reporting on things, and actually growing as a reporter, as a character. But that brings me to Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, who is played by Jon Bernthal. I know people look at him and they're like, yeah, Shane from The Walking Dead, even though he hasn't been on The Walking Dead in 4 seasons now. But okay, fine, sure. I think after this, people will start saying, hey, the Punisher. He is the Punisher. Talk about great casting. Talk about a performance. Man, oh man, his introduction where he shows up and he's a fucking badass. But not just a badass. He's somebody who knows what he's doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no question. There's no confusion on how he's going about going out there and killing people in cold blood murder. You have to admit that. But you get it. As much as there's so many heroes out there, superheroes, who have that rule. I'm not going to kill, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to become a monster. And that's understandable. In fact, I admire a lot of heroes who have that type of rule. But it's another thing when you see a guy who's just like, I don't give a fuck. And when the scene that was in the trailer where he has Daredevil chained up, awesome moment, on the roof, and he's telling him, look, you hit people, they come back. When I hit people, they fucking stay down. Some people were afraid because in the trailers you never see the skull on her shirt, which is like, come on, guys. If you saw season 1, then you know that they're building up to that, and they do build up to it, and we do get the skull on the shirt, and I fucking marked out. You can tell that I'm a comic book geek when I'm sitting there, and I'm freaking out over a fucking skull on somebody's shirt. Elektra Natchios, who is played by this actress, Oleti Young. And this is an actress that I've seen in a couple of things here and there before. But seeing her as Elektra, loved her. Absolutely loved her. I know Frank Miller doesn't agree. I guess he saw the picture when it was first released. And he said that wasn't Elektra to him. And okay, here's a guy who has written Daredevil before in the comic books. He knows at least what he thinks of these characters, and that's fine. But when you see how she portrays this character, when you see her attitude when she first comes in, how strained the relationship is at first because of their past, how flawed she was, but also like she had a great personality. She was very fun and very sort of a little crazy, but that's what you kind of liked about her, because you could tell deep down she still cared for Matt and still loved him. But she was a killer. That was her big thing. She's an assassin, a trained killer, and she can't get that out of her system. And this is what I've always wanted from Elektra in live action. I mean, that movie with Jennifer Garner, don't get me started with what the fuck they did there. This actress, first of all, at least she's European this time. She has an accent. Like, she is the Elektra character full and through. But I love the story of Daredevil, Matt Murdock, believing in her. Being the only person who looks at her and says, you can be good. And she wants to believe him, but she also can't help but kill. And that's what you want from an Elektra story. I also love seeing the weird, mystical, cult-like group, the Hand, who comes in. They're all ninjas, and that was all great as well. The People versus Frank Castle was fascinating. I was like, wow. I was not expecting to get a courtroom drama with Frank Castle, and this is how we get a little bit deep into his psychology and like what the public thinks of him, how some people were all for him killing even some cops, and how other people were like, no, he's a menace, he's scary, he's this and that. I love that. I love that Matt and Foggy were representing him, and that this was their first big high-profile case, and they were a little out of their league, but still they took it. I could not believe that Vincent D'Onofrio came back as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe some people who are keeping more up on the news and certain behind-the-scenes stuff of this, maybe they knew. Or maybe it's even out there and I just missed it. But watching the show and seeing when Frank Castle goes to prison and is face-to-face with Kingpin, I'm like, whoa, this is happening. And he gets a few episodes where he's in the story. Kingpin is very much here. See, the writing, I've seen some reviews that said that the writing's not as good as season 1, and whether that's true or not, I still love the writing here. I still loved how they paid attention to so much detail, how they really moved the story along. It never ever felt slow at all. When you watch a show like this, a show, in my opinion, that's this greatly planned out and written and put together, this is why it's hard. A show like this is why it's hard to go to regular TV and watch Gotham or watch S.H.I.E.L.D. or watch any other show that, I don't want to say that those shows are bad. I like those shows, some more than others. But it's hard to then go and watch those shows where the writing is not as good. as this. It's not as crisp. It's not as, it's hard. It's hard for me to get back into that mindset of, okay, now I have to dumb myself back down to enjoy that, because this is so rich. This is so much going on here. Rosario Dawson showing back up as Night Nurse. I love her as this character. And man, you also feel bad for her too, because she wants to do the right thing. She wants to help these heroes constantly, but she's also getting thrown under the bus at her job at the hospital. Whenever the show mentioned Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, I couldn't help but get giddy inside. I know that it's like this isn't the first thing that's had characters cross over or be mentioned, but for some reason that works. It's such a comic book thing to see characters show up, or even just to see a character say somebody's name from something else, reference somebody. That is such a small thing, but it works. It gets me happy, it gets me excited every time, because it reminds me that this is all in the same world. But the action is something that I have to talk about. The first couple episodes, we see Daredevil and the Punisher fight, and they fight a few times where it's brutal. It's just two guys going at it. That stairway fight, that one shot, they obviously want to try to one-up the hallway fight from season 1, which was great. But this might have it beat. It just might, because Daredevil is trying to fight his way out of the building, and there's all these biker gang coming in, and it's just a bunch of them, and he's knocking people out. He's knocking somebody over the stairway, and it's all one shot. Anytime I saw Daredevil and Elektra fight side by side, fighting ninjas, fighting the Hand, that I couldn't get enough of that. Sure, I talked a little bit about certain things that happened, and I was debating how spoiler I should get for this, but I have to talk about this. So, spoiler alert! If you've only seen some of the show or haven't seen the show yet, please turn away now. I'm giving you that chance. But the moment when they killed Elektra at the end, I was so upset, because I figured, well, I know Elektra dies in the comic and gets resurrected. I know all this. But I wasn't expecting them to kill her in season 2, in her introduction season. I figured that they would have waited until they maybe brought Bullseye in for next season or something. I don't know. I just wasn't even thinking about her, the possibility of her dying. And then she dies. And then I'm like, okay, so then they changed her death. They had the Hand killer, but she's still going to come back, right? Then you see her body being buried in a graveyard, and I'm like, what the fuck? And you see Matt in front of it with Stick, and they're talking about her, and I'm like, oh no, maybe this is like the Ben Urich thing, where I could not believe they killed Ben Urich last season like that, and he's really fucking gone. But then you get the shot of her grave dug up, and the Hand putting her body in whatever that thing was, because they had some weird cult thing of these kidnapped kids and the blood, and they got brainwashed, and then they sacrificed them. Like, it was this weird fucking shit going on. But it looks like they are going to resurrect her. We have to get a season 3. As much as these shows were originally supposed to be building up to the Defenders, and that will still be cool to see one day, I'm more interested in them just doing seasons of these individual shows. I'm completely more into that. Daredevil Season 2, a better than sex! What a surprise! I know. Some people might not have enjoyed it as much as I have, but I can't get enough of this world. I can't get enough of these characters. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Daredevil Season 2 on Netflix? Are you enjoying it like I did? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!